Okay, you got through the inspection. Now comes the appraisal. What are the heuristics or shortcuts that can rip you off when it comes time for the appraisal? All right, so there's really only 1/2 that really do come up for people, and that's representativeness and anchoring. All right, so what does that mean? Well, you get the appraisal back. All right, now before you get the appraisal back, it's going to get done, and the bank is going to send an appraiser over, and the appraiser's job is to get them a number that represents what the house would sell for on the open market. All right, now, in reality, what you bought it for is what the house would sell for on the open market because you bought it on the open market. So you really don't need an appraiser to tell you what the house is valued at the open market because you just paid it. You are the market. However, the bank wants to make sure you're not crazy, and the bank wants to make sure that if you default, they can find someone else to buy it and how much they could buy it for, how much they would buy it for, based on what other houses have sold for. So the appraiser is going to come out, right? So what mental shortcut, what cognitive bias could mess you up? Well, the one that messes people up from time to time is representativeness or anchoring. But it's not quite the same thing, but here's what happens for people is they take what the bank says and they act as if it's a solid real number, like it somehow is the value of the house. It's no more of the value of the house than what you paid for it. It's someone else's subjective opinion, but because it comes from a bank, it's representative of what a real value would look like. But it's a house. It has no real value. It literally has no real value. It is only worth what someone will pay for it. There is no intrinsic value to it. I mean, I guess the wood, the glass, right? But it doesn't really have an intrinsic value. So the bank's value isn't any more the real value than what you were willing to pay. However, if you get anchored to it as if it were, if you pretend it is real and you get anchored to it as a real thing, and you begin to think, oh, maybe I overpaid, or maybe the seller could think maybe I undercharged. I got ripped off. I didn't get enough for my house. Oh, okay, maybe, but not really because you were on the open market and you sold it at that price. So it really was worth whatever you guys agreed on. So don't get hooked that the bank's appraisal is any way, shape, or form a more valid interpretation of the value of the house than what you paid for it. It's just not. In reality, it's not. So you got to watch out for that. It's going to happen. The appraisal is going to happen. If the bank needs a number from a neutral third party, actually makes sense. It's just not the real value. It's another possible value of the house, okay? It only messes people up when it comes in and doesn't meet their expectations. So if it comes in low for the seller or high for the buyer, or the other way around, high for the seller, right? They think they got ripped off. Comes in low for the buyer, they think, oh my God, I got ripped off. Either way, it's not accurate. If you offered rationally, if the previous steps have been done rationally, now there may be something to work out technically to match it up with what the bank's gonna lend you, but in terms of you getting hooked on it, it's not the real value, okay? What you were willing to pay for it before you knew that number is the real value, all right? Anyway, watch out for that step.